We're going to kick off with the area of cybercrime, and conference room 3 is where you need to make your way to at 2 o'clock this afternoon. It's going to be all part of the technology forum offering here at Cybers. As I said, we have some of the panelists, some of the delegates at that session, and let me introduce you to them now. They are Rich Bolstridge. He is the Chief Strategist and Financial Service at Akamai Technologies. Did I pronounce that correctly?
You did, yes.
Right, okay. Greg McSweeney is the Editorial Director at Wall Street and Technology, and Alain de Saussure, he is the Chief Security Officer, Head of Enterprise Security and Architecture here at Swift. So gentlemen, thanks very much for joining us. Let's start first of all with you, Rich. What are the main cyber threats for banks? If you could just put it down in layman's terms, what are those?
Well, understanding today that banks and financial institutions more than ever rely on the internet to deliver their services. The internet is a very different and unfortunately dangerous place now to try to run your business. Number one, what we see with our customers is denial of service. This is actually trying to, criminals and hackers trying to take down websites and disrupt businesses. And they've been quite successful at this. Beginning 1 year ago today, or 1 year ago this month, there have been major attacks against banks. We've seen in some cases, some weeks, 20 banks in the United States being attacked. And along with straight denial of service, which is a brand reputation problem, it was really the data theft that the banks have to worry about. So it doesn't take a large volume of attacks to try to steal some data. And the third point is really the shared services vulnerabilities. We saw in one case, one of the major banks in the world had their domain name system come under attack, which resulted in almost all of their web properties being unavailable, including their commercial banking, their retail banking, their wealth management systems, and in fact some of the technical people could not gain access to their systems using their VPN or their remote access.
Okay, so Greg, we've been talking about this topic quite a lot at Cybers, not just this Cybers, but previous ones. Are banks not being proactive enough? Obviously, if as he's just said, you have 20 attacks or 20 banks having a series of attacks, what's your view?
They are being proactive. There are various ways they can do that by using some real-time analysis of data that's coming in, real-time monitoring of situations. But this is a game that some people have said this is a game that banks can't win. You can just not lose it. So banks always have to remain on top of what's most current and what's happening. What we're really seeing is the types of attacks that are coming in are more varied and they're larger. So as Rich mentioned, the DDoS attacks, they're coming in more frequently and they're getting much larger in size. You're looking at 10 gigabits per second to 50 to 100 gigabits per second that they've been measured at coming in, which is massive amounts of traffic coming into a site, very, very large. And they're also more varied. So rather than just be DDoS, you also have the typical financial crime infiltrations. People looking to make money off of a bank, steal money from a bank. And those are getting larger as well. I think the Ponyman Institute estimated the average cyber loss is over $6 million per incident. That's just per incident. And there are some incidents that you're in the hundreds, $200 million range, card theft, transaction theft, data theft. So more varied attacks, more larger attacks, and the banks can be a little bit proactive by monitoring their networks in real time and using the latest safeguards. But it's probably something they can never win, but they can just not lose.
Okay, and Alan, what are the sorts of processes that banks should be looking at more in order not to be shelling out $6 million at least after a cyber attack?
So there are a number of processes that really helps improve the cyber posture of banks. And the risk management, the patch management are things that are well known. The one thing that maybe I can mention is really very much like in the physical world. I mean, you have fire extinguisher in your building, you have fire drills. Well, you should do the same for cyber. So you should rehearse the technology that you acquire, you should rehearse the fact that people are fluent and that they are ready to, they know what to do and they are ready to activate their defenses so that actually you will be able to stand up to the new sort of attacks that are out there.
the awareness that we're talking about, the fire drill scenario. It's awareness amongst the entire staff, not just your security staff, not just amongst the IT staff, but everybody in the organization needs to be aware about password management and encryption and doing the right thing. So have those fire drills with everybody, not just the security staff, is very helpful.
Yeah, I think it's very much utilize all the resources, not just internally, but with your vendors as well. We often share intelligence and advice that we come across among all our customers and with industry association such as FSI-SAC and others. So there's quite a lot of knowledge out there, and don't just rely on internal sources, but look to your peers and industry associations.
I mean, obviously that's been done, but we still have a lot of these events happening with cybercrime. So is there a case that maybe we could look at new things in terms of information sharing that will help the situation more? What is your view on that?
Well, to the point of reach, I think there are already a large number of capabilities that are out there. I think people need to seize them and really be open to learn from others. At the same time, it's not always easy to share the internal incident that one would have, because I mean we don't like too much publicity when you work in the security world. So, but there is value really in sharing that in an anonymous manner, so that you learn about the modus operandi of people and what you can actually do in your own shop, how you can project what exists on the outside, so that you transform your own organization. So that's something we call really the black swans, trying to get after those things that you think will never happen to you, but you should really wonder.
The real-time information sharing is very important. We're seeing that in the United States and in Europe, even sharing amongst the public and the private sectors, where a bank may see a DDoS threat coming, they share that information almost in real time with other banks and authorities, so everybody can be prepared. It's trying to get that, but getting that institutional inertia to do that is sometimes challenging.
I think there is a good amount of real-time sharing, but we often see some of the intelligence that comes out of the learnings months and months afterwards. We read about things, that a year ago or 6 months ago, this type of fraud occurred, and now it's coming to light. So I think it's actually far too delayed, and I think where the industry needs to go is automation. When threats occur, there should be automation and machines talking to machines in a sense to block these threats, as opposed to just picking up the phone and calling your buddy at another firm or calling somebody. So I do think we have a ways to go to improve our defenses.
I mean, it's a broad topic. We've discussed it a lot at the last few conferences and particularly at this one. What do you think is not on the agenda with regards to this topic at the moment that should be put more center stage of the agenda?
Center stage on the agenda.
I know, I'm putting you on the spot.
Yes, I think it's really the openness. The banking system is all about customer trust. And when people read and see, for instance, the AP Twitter hack, the Associated Press Twitter account was compromised in April. Someone posted a note about a bombing at the White House, and the Dow dropped 100 points within seconds. So when hackers can affect capital markets, that shakes the confidence of the financial markets. And that's at the point where if I have my money entrusted to a bank and I don't think my money is safe at that bank, that's when we have a problem. So I really think it's being more open and direct and maintaining that customer trust in the financial relationship.
Agreed. It's about transparency. As Elaine mentioned before, sometimes you don't want to talk about security breaches, but there is a lot of value in doing it. And all the banks and institutions, they're on the same side in this. They're all trying to fight against cybercrime and hacktivists and all the different organizations out there. So sharing that information quickly, learning from it quickly, is something that definitely should be done a little bit more.
Yeah, next to that, we don't live alone. We have suppliers and partners, and I mean, all in all, the services we deliver we will be able to continue to deliver them if all of our suppliers will be go on the same route as us and go to the same learning. So I think that's a challenge as well that we need to all bring together and get to.
Okay. All right, great. Thanks very much to all of you for joining us today. Thanks for spending your time on Sibos TV with us.